everybody, and welcome to Manny's Makings. Today we are going to do something. I've seen a lot of stuff in different Facebook groups and things where people are wanting more jewelry for men, and one of the requests I've seen like 7 or 8 times now is how do you wrap a crystal point. Now this is just sort of a second grade crystal point. I got them in a strand, different sizes, whatever. And I'm going to show you a quick, down and dirty, easy way to do it for men. And men like simple. They don't like a lot of ornate for the most part. And the women who buy for them, they like basic colors, silver, gold, black, white, gray, that sort of thing, and then sometimes with a pop of color. But we're just going to do this really super simple. So I'm going to show you one that I'm in the midst of processing. This is just a little one. And see, it's just super easy, just a few wraps around, and it holds it really well. Like you could swim in this sucker, and you still have the crystal point showing. Obviously you wouldn't with the leather, but I'm going to show you a chain version as well as how to finish the ends off. So when I do these things, first of all, love having you guys, the subscribers that I have. Those of you who have not subscribed yet, please subscribe and like. And the full list of all the materials that I used are always underneath the video under the show more button, under the tools and materials list, and other links where you can find me. So, if you ever want to know, where I got something, and if I know, I'll tell you. If I don't, I won't. Just check below, please, please. So, and the other thing is, a lot of you are making things from my videos, but I'd love to see them. And the only way that I can do that is if you send me a message on Facebook. You can friend me on Facebook and the links below, and you're more than welcome to post your pictures of what you make from my videos on my page. I would love that. So those things I wanted, sort of business that I wanted to take care of. So I have some crystal points. These ones have holes through them, but I'm going to ignore the hole. I have some chain, and this is heavy duty chain. I got this as a pile. I think I even got this this might have been Michael's. So I have like this heavy chain, and I have a more silver heavy chain, and these are pretty heavy gauge chains compared to some finer stuff that I would more likely to use with women. And this is literally like this is like really solid chain. So I have two pieces here that I'm going to put the crystal in the middle of, and then put some findings on it, and we're good to go for a men's necklace. And this is something that they could wear swimming or could wear in the water, and yes, it would eventually rust and cause problems over time. And the chlorinated water is never good, or or salt water is never good if you happen to be fortunate enough to live near an ocean. But the point is it's easy to make. So take your piece of crystal. You're going to need some wire, and I most of the time use wire from Pear Wire. So I have 20 gauge here that I'm going to use today, and I'm going to use a little bit. I have some artistic wire because I ran out of my 26 gauge and I had to go pick some up at a local store, so I just had to get the artistic wire. But my 26 gauge wire that I'm going to use for the leather end finishing. If you're doing chain, you don't need that. If you're doing chain, you are going to need probably a couple of little jump rings, and I would go with 18 gauge jump rings. These are really tiny, and then a decent size clasp, because men again don't like fiddly. With this one, I have even a bigger clasp on it with the leather one. So yeah, nice big clasp, chunkier the better. I mean, obviously not bigger than the crystal, but you know what I mean. Good size clasp. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take a piece of wire, and I'm going to straighten it. Now in this case I can just straighten with my fingers, but if you can't, and these are pretty beat up, as you can see, I desperately need a new pair, but yeah, it'll happen eventually. All I'm doing is taking it, I'm holding it with my coil, so that it's the easiest way to straighten wire when you're holding on to the actual rest of it. And I'm only going to need, I don't know, maybe not even 6 inches. Let's do 5 inches. It's probably more, we'll go for 6 and we'll cut off the excess. So then we'll know how much. So this is how I figure my way through something. This is a bigger crystal than the last one I did, so I might need a little bit more space. So I'm going to cut with a flat edge, flat edge up. So I'm getting a nice clean cut on this side. I'm going to check the cut on the other side, which is flashing me. And if you've watched my other wire videos, you know that a flashing end means that you don't have a level end. So now I have a nice straight end on both sides. No flashy, flashy, no flashy, flashy. So I'm good. So all I'm going to do is take the crystal and figure out where I want the wrapping. I need to leave myself enough. So I'm about, what's that? 1/3 of the way through? Yeah, about 1/3. If I want to wrap this 10 times at the top, then I'm going to need a longer wire. If I'm just wrapping it a couple times or 3 times, then I need a shorter wire. So again, it's one of those. And I'm purposely coming below where that hole is because I'm sort of going to block it. So all I'm doing is taking it around the hole and I'm pulling with all my might. Okay, so I'm pulling, and you could do this with 2 tools. You could do it with your wire straighteners and the other tool. See, I'm pulling it tight. And then I'm going to pull it around and pull it around. I think I'm going to give one more level. So I'm just making sure that the wires aren't twisted at the back. So this is the one that's longer that I'm going to give one more wrap to. And this is the shorter one. And I'm just going around and around. Really simple, right? See, and that left me a really short end. I should be okay with that because I'll do something else. So all I'm going to do now is take the 2 back wires. So let's just zoom in, see if I can make this a bit better for you. So, so this is what I have so far. And you can make either side, the front or the back. Now, as you can see, it slides off right now. That's fine. I'm going to cover where that hole is. I'm going to take the 2 pieces and I'm going to bring them around to the back and I'm going to pretend they're a twist tie. Cool, huh? Then I'm just going to take a pair of pliers and I'm going to twist. Now be careful because you can break the crystal. What I'm doing is tightening up the top wire and the bottom wire, and that ain't moving. It's that simple. See how easy that was? So this one here, I'm going to just take it around this one wire just a little bit because it's too short to do anything with. If it was longer, I would make it part of the bail, but it's not. So we'll make lemonade out of lemons. Cut that off. Should really cover it better than I did. And I'm going to tuck it in. Now you think, okay, well that's really ugly. Well, I'm just going to push it up against the back. So now I have this. So what are my choices? Well, I have a couple of choices. One, I can stick 2 ends of chain in here, and I can make a loop and do a wire wrap loop around them, and the one chain would go one way, one would go the other way. I could make a big loop and then add a jump ring to either side. I could double this loop because this is long enough to make a double loop to make it extra strong. Again, that's always a wonderful thing when it comes to something you want to wear for any length of time. So let's go with a double loop, and then we'll go with the jump rings to attach our chain. And I may have to switch to a bigger. Okay. So I'm just taking the wider section of my pliers, of my Reynolds pliers, and this is the front. So I'm aware of that, and I'm curling this around, making sure I'm getting that end tucked in, and I'm just curling it around and curling it around and curling it around and curling it around and curling it around. Now this top wire, see where it's cut at the top there? That either has to be at the bottom or at the back. My preference is the back, so I'm going to actually take my wire cutters, move this away from the rest of it a little tiny bit, and I'm going to cut it at the back side, flat side of my pliers, this side here, towards my finished work. So what I want to leave. So I want to leave this part, I want to cut off this part up here. So I'm just going to take it and nip it off. Super easy. Doo-doo, gone. And then I'm going to just tuck it in. I'm just making sure that there's no Sharpie pieces that are going to get anybody. Okay, so I have this little bail. Now I could leave it at the back, or I could push it up towards the front. And the more I push it up, the more level, if you see how this all sort of molds to itself. Really lovely. Then I could stick a wire, or I could stick, let's say, a piece of leather. So I'll just show you. So here's a piece of leather. I could stick a leather cording through that, finish the ends of the leather cording, and call it a day. See how easy that is? Okay, so I just got assorted pliers here. I'm just going to open these jump rings, and these are really little. I may have to pull out some bigger ones. And I can do that if I have to. Actually, I know I'm going to have trouble, so let me just pause this for a second, and I'll be back with some bigger jump rings. Okay, so I'm back and I have some jump rings. They're bigger, and I can open them quite easily with my fingernail. They're 20 gauge rather than 18 gauge, so I'm just going to double them up. So I'm going to take one side of this and put one on and put one through here. And then I'm going to take another pair of pliers, wherever they went. There they are. So it doesn't matter which pliers you use. And I'm having focus issues today. Okay, so I'm just open one of the jump rings. These are 20 gauge, so I'm going to double them up. I want them to be good and strong. So I'm going to put one on. I just put them through the two loops that I made at the top here. And I'm just going to close this jump ring. And any of you who watch my videos know I hate closing jump rings. I suck at it. It takes me forever, but it's fine. It's part of what you have to do when you make jewelry. So even though I'm not good at it, I just take my time and I just do the best I can. There we go. Open that a second time. So I'm going to put it through the same two loops again. So I'm going through, okay, so I'm going through the same two loops again. I'm going through this loop and the loop that I went through before. Try not to go through the other jump ring I put on, which is what I'm doing at the moment, which is a silly girl. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to close this one. There we go. So there's the two closed jump rings on the one side. And then I'm going to do two more on the other side. So two more jump rings. They're getting stuck to my fingers. Find the hole. Where is the hole? There it is. I almost hate to open jump rings that are so well closed I can't find the hole, because then it's like I gotta open them and then close them again, and I can never close them as beautiful as they did the first time. So another one, and I'm closing it up. I'm just double checking from both angles, from every angle, that it's all closed. And I have one last jump ring to put on. I can feel the cut somewhere around here. There it is. Okay, so that only has one, and that has two. See how that has two jump rings and this only has one. And again, we're constructing something specifically more masculine, something for the man in your life, if that's what you want, or the woman who likes masculine jewelry in your life, who likes, you know, lots of women like masculine jewelry, including myself. So, you know, just and I'm putting two on because then it guarantees that it's good and strong. Okay. So that's got itself twisted there. Okay. So I don't like the way that's laying. There we go. I just want to make sure it's going to lay properly when it's hanging on somebody's head or neck. Yeah, so I'm not liking the way this is hanging, so I need to adjust the jump rings. So I'm thinking that I actually need to add these two jump rings into these two here, so that it comes out the side of it, or add these two jump rings to both pieces of the thing. So let's start with that one. So this is how you design on the fly, because I didn't do the one with the jump rings already ahead of time. So I got to find the openings. There it is. There's one. I'll take that off. I'm feeling with my fingernails. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to feel with my fingernail. And I can't find the opening on this one. It's here somewhere. So this is literally what you do. There we go. Found it. Yay. So that piece of one's off. So I like the way that this hangs. This particular one hangs here. And with all this other stuff in the background, my camera doesn't want to focus. So I like the way this particular one hangs here. And I'm just thinking if I hang the other one on the other side, the tension would be on the same set of jump rings so that you would have I want it to come to a Y, like a Y look. So I need to open these jump rings and put the other end of the chain. And I didn't have to split the chain in this case. I thought I was going to do something different, so I split it ahead of time because this chain is really thick and it's hard to cut. So I've opened up that jump ring. I'm trying to hold on to it here. And I'm going to stick an end through. And I'm going to close that jump ring. Hopefully I'm staying on screen. I'm trying to do better for all of you who want to see all the little details. Okay, so there's the one jump ring. Now I'm going to find the other one. Where's the other one? There's the other one there. So I want to get the second jump ring and get the... So where's the little... So I'm just turning it around, trying to rub my fingernail over it to find the... Now, if I took a second, I could go under my magnifying glass. But for those of you who are low vision, and there's lots of us out there, I found it. So now I need to put the second. This one only has one, so it needs to have both. I'm just going to make sure it's not twisted funny. Okay. So what I meant by that is I was making sure that, see how they're both going through the two jump rings the same way, so that the jump rings aren't all twisted up. And so, well, you don't want to do that. But anyways, I just did. So now I got to find the other jump ring. Wherever there it went, it came off both. So that even makes it easier. I can show you. Okay, so see how there's the two chains are hanging down, and there's the one jump ring. I got to come through the two chains the same fashion as the other one did. So I got to come around like this, and then come around through these two loops, and then around, so that they're all following the same path, so that they don't get all twisty. Nobody wants anything with their knickers in the knot. Okay, so I like the way that hangs much better. So that'll hang quite nicely on a chest. It says it's not a chest, so, and you can adjust where that sits on here. So yeah, this will hang quite nicely on somebody's chest, and you can see that it would make a really nice, as you can see, it would make a really nice pendant for someone. So this is, and it's hanging with the two jump rings, hanging off of there. See, it just hangs. It dangles. I could have left it one piece of chain and just hung the, you know, done the wire wraps loop through the chain, and now I have the two ends. So this end doesn't need anything because the loop of this will fit through any of these ones here, so I don't need to worry about that. And this one here I need to attach, so hence the jump rings. So I'm going to use the littler jump rings with this one because these are a little bit higher, heavier gauged, and I know that I don't need a big huge jump ring there. I just need it big enough to go through here. I can hold it right. Go through here, and then go through the piece here. There we go. And she's all closed. So we have a finished necklace. One. Because remember I told you I was going to show you how to finish the ends as well. So this will hook in to anything along here and turn it into a finished necklace. When I back out, I'll show you more, but see, you can see there's the end. And so this would be suitable. It's not gonna come off. I'm pulling on that. I don't know if you can see my fingertips are turning white from me pulling so hard. So that's not going anywhere. That cinched down, that wire cinched down on that. It's also to do with when you pull one direction, it tightens in another direction. Smart thinking, right? Yay. So anyway, super easy, masculine design. Love, love, love. So there's one. So the other one, I did the same sort of thing, but I took the loops and made them double. So I took the loops and made them double, and that, and so I doubled them up and then put the leather through. Now it meant that the leather is it's a little tight in there. It's a little snug, so it's not going to slide on the leather, which I actually kind of like. But you could do it with it in there tighter. And then the other thing I'm going to show you is how to do the ends. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to finish the ends, the leather end. So as you can see, I did the one end, and I just did sort of a messy wrap with the 26 gauge, and I did several layers, and I just looped the leather over and then cut it off, and then I put on my one finding with the jump ring, and then I just have, this is just a piece of chain that I'm going to attach to the other end of the loop that I do, so that there's somewhere to hook onto. This is going to be sort of like an extra thing. So you have the piece of leather, and in my case, 20 inches is what I like to do. 18 for women, 20 inches for men. This will be sort of clavicle area wearing. You could, a little bit longer, just check. So you can do this. I'm going to do this with the chain. So what I'm doing is taking it off the other end. So I'm going to show you how to finish this end. So I'm going to take the chain and I'm going to stick it over the end. So it has to be big enough to fit over the piece of leather, and I allowed myself a little bit of extra space to do this. So I have my chain attached. I did the same thing with the other end. When I did the other end, I just stuck the jump ring that was attached to my finding and put that in there. So I'm forming this little loop, and I need some space to do the wrapping. So you don't want to have it up like this because you don't have any space to do the wrapping, and then the leather will be falling out. So just be patient with yourself. You can do lots of different leather knots. And feel free to check those out somewhere else on the web, because I don't do a lot of leather knotting, and there's lots of them available, barrel knots and of the sort, but that's not something I do. So I have my 26 gauge wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold my 26 gauge wire, and since this is a nice tiny spool, I don't have to take it off the spool, and I'm just going to come around. I'm holding it really tight there, and I'm going to come around and bring it to the other side, and I'm going to pull. Okay, so it's going to be a messy wrap, and this chain's going to be in the way, so let's see how we can do this. That's all right, we'll just do it slow. So all I'm doing is bringing the wire one beside the other, trying not to get caught up in the chain. So I'm starting with trying to sort of lay this wire down beside each other. And you could do a neat wrap like this if you wanted as a finish. And once you get about 5 or 6 wraps, so you can see I have quite a few wraps, and if I straighten out this end here and clean it up, this at this point is going to hold. You don't need to go any further than that. I thought I'd do something a little bit more hefty so that it would take a little bit more beating, and so that's what I'm doing. So I'm working my way up, and I'm just working my way up, and I'm just pulling the wire with my fingers, pretty tightly, and I'm doing sort of a messy wrap loop thing. So obviously I didn't do them the same. I need to go up a little higher. Oh, there we go. Going up a little higher, trying to get in those spaces that I've missed, moving the tail out of the way. I could wrap the tail in there if I wanted, but it doesn't really matter. So all I'm doing is making a big, hot, try not to get the chain attached, messy wire wrap. And I'm doing this on purpose because for me, there's something about, it's either got to be perfect or messy. It's kind of like in between doesn't look the same. I don't know what that is. Okay, so I'm happy. I've wrapped that, I don't know, 20 times. That ain't coming apart, hell or high water. Okay, so I need to leave enough now because I need to wrap this around and inside this leather loop. So I'm just going to leave a piece. Bonk. Cut it off. Get that out of the way. All right, so this is what I have. I have my end here. And I have my other end here. And I'm just going to take this, and I'm making a little curvy bend in it. And I'm going to take it, and I'm going to bring it around the back. because I have enough wire to go around the back, and I'm going to stick it in that sort of hole in the leather where the loop is. Okay, stick it in there, stick it in there. Okay, so now I need a pair of pliers, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to pull, and I'm pulling towards the middle where all the other wire is, and I'm tightening that up as tight as I can, okay, without breaking the wire. And I don't want to cut through the leather either. And then I'm going to cut that off really nice and tight. Make sure I can't feel anything, because we don't want any pokies at the back of our necks, because pokies at the back of our necks are not fun. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Now this one I'm going to just wrap around this one piece of leather. And I didn't leave myself enough tail, but that's okay. I'm just going to bring it down and in. I'm holding onto both pieces of leather with my finger, and I'm pulling down towards the pile in the center. And you can take your fingernail or the pliers and bring it up. And then I'm going to do the same with this one and cut it. Now don't cut your leather, or try not to cut your leather or nick your leather, because it will weaken it. So this is 2mm leather. So there's my leather. I need to cut off some of the excess. So I'm just going to do it on a little bit of an angle. Just did an angle cut towards the main body. And so I have a finished piece. I have the two ends done. I have the clasp that can be done up, and I have the little wrapped crystal. And the leather needs to relax, so that can be done up any place they want, so that it fits them the way they want it. So let me back out and I will show you the two finished pieces. Okay, so I'm back, and as you can see, I have two finished pieces of sort of crystal points, and two different, they're done in the same way as far as wrapping the crystal point. This one was just 3 times around. This one's 3 times around, but I did them closer together. They both have the twisted at the back. They both have the bail made out of the wire that was left over. This one has chain on it with a lobster claw on the back. And again, they could put it anywhere on the chain, so, you know, this one's got a fixed point, so it's not going to go anywhere. This one does too, but it doesn't have to. If you do nice big loops, then you can have it slide on the actual leather. So this is the leather, and I showed you how to do the ends so that they're finished, and then I have the piece of chain to sort of attach the lobster claw to. So there's 2 pieces of finished crystal point jewelry for men. Or for women who want something simple. This is a heavy duty chain. This one could be worn, you know, pretty well all the time, and it would be good. And this one, you know, the leather obviously is going to break down over time, and I wouldn't swim in it or shower in it. So I hope you learned something from this, that you can take something as simple as a crystal point. This could have been a tooth, you know, the crystal's pretty solid. It's a lot stronger than people think it is. So I'm able to like crank down on it. The only thing you'd be cautious of is that when you're doing the twisting, like the twist tie at the back, that you don't break the crystal, because you can cinch down so much that all of a sudden you hear snap and it breaks the crystal. So cinch it so it's tight, so it's not moving on there. Like it's not moving at all. Like it's just not moving. So I'm happy. All the crystal points still available, and you can see it, and it's beautiful. You could do this with an amethyst point. The softer the stone, the less I would do this with, because the really, really soft, sort of chalky stones, if you had spikes of them, the more likely you are to break the actual stone. So anyways, take care and keep on making for Manny's Makings. Bye!